This is Home Office Mommy Magazine, bringing you somewhere near 60 seconds of a mommy minute. I'm Adelaide Zindler. With all this talk about bullying and even the number of fatal bullyings, the results of children actually committing suicide or something other, in another way of taking them off the planet because of the pressure they feel from their peers. I'm doing a series on bullying, and I hope you'll join me in being challenged with how you help in a response, in a positive and a powerful response for your child. I'm thinking of a client. I've had a bunch who fit this description, and one in particular. This will be a little bit unusual if you haven't heard of this before, but I've spoken with law enforcement officers who are getting calls from parents who are actually afraid of their 5-year-olds. Yes, and in fact, one of them was a client of mine. I talk about her in the stimulus package that I've put together, the journal portion of 30 Days to Home Office and Parenting Success. So let me tell you a little bit about what happened that's not described in that journal. When I met her, I was given the history and had the opportunity to even observe them in their own home environment. And I could see this little girl full of rage to the point that she would physically assault her own mother. And she's the same age as the junior apprentice. At that time, she was 5 years old, just like my child is. And she would hit her, she would throw things at her, she would yell at her, she would spit, curse, you name it, but she was volatile and angry. And so many of you listening might say, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this. She was on a number of adult designer manner medications. In fact, she had been in psychiatric lockdown 3 times. Yo, 1, 2, 3, huh? Before she was 6 years old. And that's about the time when we met. You see, I got that request from the contractor who was hiring me because her school district was saying, help us, we don't know what to do. And so they brought me in, the one you've never heard of, to try and weave through the maze to see if I couldn't do something, despite of all their clinical efforts that weren't working. And initially in her situation, every family is different, but the initial need was to put out the fire. There was a raging fire, out of control, and Mom at that point did not have the water hose ready. Okay, so I did hold her. I put my arms around her with her back to my chest and my legs around her legs, and I held her and rocked. And something that I found to be absolutely amazing with children in this situation, I've seen it over and over again, as violent as they are, there's an instinct that is God-given to know, you know what, this feels like safety. And she had every opportunity to bite me, to be aggressive to me, to hurt me, and she did scream and she did twitch. But even when she reached to try and bite me, she never did. And I waited for it. I was expecting to get beat up. And she never did. She just rocked and she cried, and I talked to her. And I said, you know what, I feel your pain. And I'm going to hold you until you're ready for me to let go. And when you are, I'm going to release you into your mother's arms. And so we rocked, and she was angry, and Mom's standing there. She doesn't know what to do because this is something she's never seen. This is a new behavior for her family to observe, but the fire needed to be put out before excellence could be revealed. Their potential was laying dormant, and well, I guess you can call me a spiritual firefighter. And so when I let her go, she ran to her mother's arms, and Mommy held her, and they cried together. And that's how we started our coaching alliance. Well, you know, you're going to need to get the package because I'm not going to tell you the outcomes, but I'll give you a hint. We made ABC News and were interviewed by Liza Lake right here in San Diego. So, yes, there is a very viable alternative to what we're currently doing in negative labels and adult designer meta medications at a very critical time in our U.S. history. I invite you to consider an alternative response. If what you're currently doing isn't working and you're ready to move to higher ground, come and take a look at what we've got in store for you. This has been HomeOfficeMommyMagazine.com, bringing you somewhere close to 60 seconds of a mommy minute. I'm Adelaide Zindler.